Well, that's pretty amazing. It was a lot of fun. We used to drive around a lot. I remember when we were trying to get the swimming pool put together there at Key West. Do you remember that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, we
We,
were.
well,
It was
we
the
were
middle of.
living not in a good conditions. You didn't
Right.
have, because of the looting that happened. There was no windows in the building they were lived, and I
No
think the first,
electricity, no buildings,
not
no
even
nothing.
toilets. You didn't have the toilets until you have
No.
the porta johns, I think.
Right.
And
Right.
then Chris was, looking for the blue stuff that he said, I want the blue stuff inside. You know what I mean?
And to get rid of the smell, right?
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you
then,
remember though, that we're probably now talking about June, July when the temperatures are reaching
yes.
120 degrees
Mhm.
Fahrenheit, and life is hard, right? It was tough back then.
Yes, I mean, we used to like, because it was like a start of like things, because we didn't have anything. And suddenly, you know, items started coming to Mosul. And we used to go, me and Chris and the other guys, to go and buy things from Mosul, you know what I mean? So we used to like buy them in breaks because soldiers use them all the time. It was very hot, you know, and
Super hot.
super hot, and you were like using all your gears with you all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the
So
hammers used to open the doors. You didn't have the fancy hammers that we had.
no, not at all. No, just nothing fancy. The seats were like concrete, and you had to sit on them, and
Exactly.
driving through town. So,
Hold
kind
on, you
of,
can't leave us hanging about the swimming pool.
We
well,
couldn't do it.
it never really happened. It's
It
like
never
everybody was,
happened. No, it happened in 2000, I think 8.
5 years
5 years
later.
after.
Oh my gosh. Well, it
Yeah.
was so blazing hot. All we want, they had this big, huge, like 50
It
meter
was
swimming
nothing
pool.
happened to it. I mean, you can do it, and you
It
can
was
fix it.
perfect. All we had
Yes,
to do was fix it and put water in it, and people could have like at least, you
enjoy it.
know, enjoy it. But
Oh.
you know how the army is. They were afraid that the lady soldiers were going to wear bikinis in front of Iraqis and stuff. I think that's why they didn't
That's
want to
what
fix it.
happened. That's what happened. Honestly, in 2008, I think, I'm not sure, it's 2008 or 7. We were supposed, because I was in charge of these guys, so that we were supposed to clean, and one of the soldiers, wanted to share the work with the guys, and I told her, let's do it. And they said, no, I'm gonna work with these guys. So she sat on the floor, and she was like scrapping, you know what I mean, on the floor, trying to clean it. And all the guys were just watching her and not scrapping. And I was very angry because of the guys. And I told the soldier, you have to leave now, because I'm not gonna get any work done with you sitting over there.
Go figure.
Yeah.
You know how that is. So yeah, it never got done, and that's all we wanted was a swimming pool.
Mhm.
It's kind of the way life was back then. It was hard. Now, um, so our year was up pretty quick, and then in came 317 calf, right? And
Yes.
did you end up working for them at all after I left, or how did that work?
Well, as when you left, I became the airfield manager,
Airfield manager, right?
and also the security manager for the base. So I was in charge of all the Iraqi guys who was in the towers or on the main gate as well. And at the same time, I was in charge of like the Ishku base operation as well inside. We used to like do all the work for all the units over there inside. So we worked over there, 317 cap, and also Striker, I think, came with Colonel
That's right.
Reed. Yeah,
Yep,
Striker
that's right.
came,
Yep.
Colonel Reed, and after Colonel Reed, I think they moved him to Balad because they needed them in Balad. So we got now Lieutenant General Becker, who was Colonel at that time, 2-8 artillery.
Yeah, Hakeem, you made an interesting point by saying that you're worried about people hearing this. How you and I have been very cautious over the last 20 years about your security.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you're actually being more open about it, because I do, number one, think they need to hear your story. Number two, I think it's removed enough now that maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that anybody would hold this against you, specifically here in the United States. But I don't know, how what the situation is with some of the other radical folks in Iraq right now. But something tells me you're going to be fine.
Well, I hope that I'm gonna be fine, but I was, so afraid to tell my story lots of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's enough. I think it's enough of that. I need to share my story. This is one of the things that, I'm just saying that, my life was all about fear. Even the books that Jimmy has wrote, my name is not mentioned on it.
We were very careful not to do that.
Yes.
Right.
So, fear is still, that's a part of my life. But this is one of the things that if I wanted to go to the States, I wanted to, go around like in colleges or like in seminars and talk about this. This is a story people in young generation has to hear and interact with the people with their questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're right. They need to hear this story because it's a courageous one. And I don't, like I was saying earlier, I don't think the younger generation understands what it's like to live under what you were living. All they hear is, Iraq war was a mistake. Why did we do that? Didn't do anything for us. I've never thought it was a mistake. Specifically because, not just because I lived through it, but I've known a lot of Iraqis who benefited from not being under that rule.
Too many people died for that freedom. Too many people died for that freedom. Too many people injured for that freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe now they say, we shouldn't have done, but at least something they should have on both sides, Iraqis and Americans. Too many people, so they have to have the respect for the lives and the suffering of all these people who worked to get that freedom.
100%.
Afterwards, the goal was, honest goal was like some people will fight for that freedom, but what happened afterwards is not the fault of who did it. You know what I mean? We gave you the freedom. It's up to you guys. How do you run your freedom? You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. That's well said. Let me ask you this, Hakeem. What was the how did you see the U.S. forces change from the time we were in 2003 to the time you left in 2008? What kind of changed in there from your perspective, other than units and commanders and things like that, but kind of the U.S. Tactics or the approach that they took with respect to the Iraqis and what we were trying to achieve back then, which, obviously we started getting the insurgency late in 2003 and early 2004. And then you dealt with the insurgency pretty much for a long time after that.
With General Petraeus in 2007, we had the, I think what you call it, siege, I think.
The surge?
The surge.
Yeah.
Yes, the surge. That was one. I played a good part on it as well because, nobody wanted to do work for the U.S. at that time because of the fear outside the base. And I was like, I had to do it as well outside the base because of the fear. So when the the base commander comes and asks me to do something, like stable some kind of checkpoints for the police or for the army outside for the Iraqis, most of it, to set it up outside the base. I was the one to do it with my guys.
Did it seem like the U.S. changed their approach significantly?
Of course.
Yeah.
And like, I enjoyed. I honestly, to tell you the truth, I enjoyed the time that 101st was at the time. There was, that there is real fighting. There was real work towards the people, works towards the, the freedom, towards settling the people down, interacting with the locals, getting to know the locals. The people were as well, felt it's better working. Even I know that because afterwards we used to have so many people coming and say, what happened? Why did they change? What happened in the strategy of the US? So they don't know, as a local people or normal people don't know how the politics changed the strategy. I think this is what havoc. And it's
Totally.
afterwards as well, we used to have like, from going from the guys, into the National Guard, I think used to come. And these guys, most of them, with respect to all the guys who worked over there, but, totally different type of mentality and work standards and ethics and everything. There's change.
You're talking about the difference from like the 101st to the National Guard folks. Yeah.
Because there was the interaction between the 101st and the people was like at their highest. People still remember General Petraeus. People still remember you in the local villages over there, and we felt that. Afterwards, even when General Becker came, he was very good. General Becker, Lieutenant General Becker, he was very good as well in continuing that path towards, because one of the people that I honestly respect and dear very much is Lieutenant General Becker, because the first day he came, he told me, I want to sit with you and tell me what is outside, what was happening, because Colonel Reed, and I think after Colonel Reed came for a very short time, Colonel Sleva, I think, maybe 2 months or 3 months, Colonel Sleva as well. They have some kind of QRF guys going outside the base whenever we used to get, in 2004, we used to get lots of hits into the base. And like QRF never go after at that time. They were not going after the guys because we can see them from the towers. And we can tell the QRF that these guys are hitting us from that point, but nobody goes from there. But instead,
QRF.
QRF, yes.
QRF.
Yeah, I think
Quick
response.
Quick reaction force. Yeah.
Yes.
Quick reaction force. Yeah. So it was like an entity of 20 or 30 soldiers who were like dedicated, just sit there and wait until something happened. And then they take that force and go after.
So the towers tell us where the location from where we get hit. We call the base, which is like the, and they direct the QRF. They should direct the QRF to go after them, you know what I mean? But at that time, I think we didn't do it. So when instead of that, they used to go, they went to make, get right, what do you call that? Attacks on the houses at night. So it's from the settlement, peaceful environment in 2003 into attacks on the house, on the villages, thinking that the people over there are attacking the base. And I shared my view. I said, this is wrong. You shouldn't do that. But I think he didn't listen to me. So when Colonel Becker came, he told me, tell me what's happening. And I said, you shouldn't do all these attacks on the villages because we're going to get these guys cooperating with the insurgents
Right.
against us. You know what I mean? So if you hear somebody is attacking us, I told him this, and I told him, because he was artillery, so I told him just have flares. Tell the guys, we are here. We can see you if you can do it. And he did that the whole time he was there. We never get attacked. I mean, we got minimum attack afterwards. So he was a good listener. As I tell him about going after someone, he listens to me. Not to get people of Iraq don't see that. I'm defending them, but in the mean that help both sides, the Americans and the Iraqis at the same time. So the Americans don't get hit by these guys, insurgents. At the same time, the people don't feel that these guys came to attack us or kill us at home. So I was like the mediator between both sides, and I hope that I have succeeded in some of these missions.
Well, what I find is that demonstrates your level of success is, you notice Kelly, he kept saying "we," as if he was part of the team with the commander that he was advising. And he always did that for me. He would always act like he was part of our team, not just an interpreter in the middle or somewhere. He was actually on our team, and that was kind of a special thing about Hakeem.
I never felt other than that, and even the people who I worked with never, showed me other than that.
Which is why I thought was really cool about Hakeem. I talked earlier about the nuance that he had, understanding the Iraqis, obviously, because he is one, but he understood Americans just as good as any American, which I thought was why I thought he was so special. And obviously we've been friends ever since. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask what you saw when you first went in, and then when you left. What were your thoughts going in? What were your thoughts when you left? Had things changed? I'd love to hear your perspective, Stephen. When Stephen got in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a way loaded question. This is about Hakeem and not me. But I think it's good perspective. Obviously we thought we believed in what we were doing, not just because of WMD and all the other things that they try to hit the Americans with. We as Americans have always believed in freedom, and we knew Iraqis were not free, and we thought it was important to give them an opportunity for that. So when we went in, my perspective was we're going to do whatever it takes to help the U.S. succeed in freeing Iraq, and we did that. We ended up neutralizing the targets and killing the people that we believe need to be killed. One shooting at us, but we never killed anybody beyond that. We went in, we took what we needed to take, how we needed to take it. Once we got up to Mosul, we wanted to integrate with the Iraqi people and figure out a way for them to take over for their own freedom. And I thought we did that pretty well, at least in my time, my first few months there, up until the insurgency started. Number one, there was a big, press to get Saddam Hussein because we hadn't got him yet. And number two, there was the insurgency that had started taking hold that was changing the way we had to go about business in Iraq. It went from, I think, was a relatively happy time, like when Hakeem and I first met, May, June. The fighting was over. We didn't
peace.
It seemed like peace at the time. Yeah. It's like we were all getting to know each other. Hakeem was introducing us to people. We were basically going throughout the city unobstructed, learning about the Iraqi people. We started bringing in money and changing their money supply and trying to start changing and handing over things to them. And then the insurgency started. And that's where things got hard. And I'm not convinced that we handle that very well as Americans. I think as Americans, we kind of, or at least the military, we kind of got all of a sudden you start becoming untrustful, just like the insurgents. That was their whole goal, was for them to get us to not trust the Iraqis and vice versa.
Exactly.
Kind of like the U.S. government right now. But it's like they wanted us to have this level of distrust so that we wouldn't be successful and hand over this peaceful, transition. And it was hard. Yeah, it was really hard. But I think, at least for me, I saw this huge difference in my year in Iraq when I was there. We went from game on, fighting and free do whatever we had to neutralize the Iraqi military, to, what was it, Hakeem? Probably 3 months there in the middle or so, when we kind of were just like, oh, it's over, man. We're done. And then kind of like my last 3 months there, it was, they were killing people left and right, suicide bombs and ambushes and a lot of really gnarly things going on. Well, by the time I left, we weren't in a good place militarily. So yeah, that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, but I love how that highlights that the two of you really had this. It really was a partnership. It really was a team. You both had the same goals in mind, and that was peace.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't about guts and glory at all. This was about, what can we do to make life better for the Iraqi people?
100%.
It was a team.
Yeah. So, Hakeem, tell me what it was like there in and around the insurgency time when you knew, I got to get out of here. What was going on? What led you to the decision to leave Iraq and become a refugee?
Well, that it didn't start from that time. It started from, I think, during your time. I think as you started, insurgency started at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you used to come, above my house. Do you remember that as well? By your bird, and trying to see if there's something wrong or something like that. By that time, I started getting lots of hits coming to my, waiting for me outside my the base, try to hit me, and I got info from the, I think S2 for the brigade.
S2, yeah, brigade. Yeah. S2, yeah. That's the intelligence officer, brigade. Yes, S2.
To tell me not to leave the base a lot because there are so many people trying to get you. So I think they are getting some kind of people, detained, and my name is coming, around. Because I was in charge of lots of things in the base, like even the CIP, I don't know, I think it's used to call CIP, CIP, the guys who were running the money for the Iraqis.
Oh, yeah.
CIP, isn't it? Something
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
So I was the guy as well in charge with the Americans about how to get the locals interacted with the, and distribute that money and things like that. It's not my decision, but I just tell them where to put that, advise them where to put that money into which, where areas. So my name started coming a lot, working for the Americans. I'm a traitor. Come from Iraqi officer to working with the Americans, trying to help them, trying to get us. So I had 3-4 times in the way to Mosul, in your time, just going outside the base, people waiting for me at night or whenever I go. And after you left, one of the guys who used to work for us, I think he was convinced by the insurgents to get me out of the base. So he told me, "Sir, nobody knows me. Come and sit with me in the car, and I will take you home, and to your home." So, in the morning, I said yes, but I know that there was an ambush on me. So I told him while we are like just they wanted to leave. I told him I'm not coming out with you. And that time they didn't have like the cell phones was not the bad reception at them. But my assistant told me, "Can I go instead of you?" And I said, "If you wish, but I don't advise you to go." But he insisted to go home. So he got home riding he was get angry, that guy. He was very upset and saying, "Why didn't you come, sir? Let me take you home," and things like that. And this is one of the things that I cannot forget, because there was a very bad one. So after we left the base, coming out to the intersection of Mosul, there was a car waiting for us over there. So they started chasing the car, and their target, they were shooting at the guy sitting next to the driver, thinking I was the guy, but it was my assistant over there. So my assistant didn't get hit. He was because he kneeled down, but the guy was sitting behind the driver, got in his shoulder, because it was like this is hitting it. So while he was kneeling, my assistant, he told him to pull to the desert next, to the right, and he was going into the right. There was a village over there. And he went to the village, and they were after him, but there was like too much dust. They didn't see, where was the car going, until he went to that village, and he requested their help, and they assisted him, and they took him from the village to the base. I think they took the guy by chopper to Balad because of hospital. I think because of his hit in the. So, one of the things that I can recall that this guy, he tried to like sell me to the insurgents, but he never worked for me anymore. But this is one of the hits that I got a lot of times. And afterwards,
so was your family still in Mosul at this time?
Yes, but this is what I was going to talk about as well. At the same time, because I was not leaving the base, they started going towards my family. Leaving them some bullets under the door, hitting the door, because our doors are like big, steel doors. So they hit the doors by their AK-47s, and sent the letters. And my brother as well, they hit his car they tried to kill him, but it was not, I think, a killing. It was a warning. You have to leave. It's either Hakeem, come leave the Americans, or we will kill you. Otherwise, sending me messages throughout that, Hakeem, you have to leave Mosul, because of the attacks that coming to my family and my wife. My wife went to her father's house, and lots of emotions. So at that time, I think Colonel Becker said, "Hey, you gotta leave Mosul now." So he took me under by convoy to Mosul from the base, and met my family. They took my family into the airfield, Mosul airfield. And from there, they took us by, as well in the convoy to Erbil. And from Erbil, there was some kind of, some kind of talks between the, I think, 2-8, Colonel Becker, and the special forces of Kurdistan, of Peshmergas, to take me inside Erbil. And I was under the protection of Erbil over there. But still, I was like, because Erbil was not like that very safe at the same. Still, they can get inside Erbil and get me. That's why when I think in 2009, I decided I have to leave Iraq and go to Turkey, because my name was in every poll of in some areas in the polls of the street polls. Get this traitor.
So you had the equivalent of like the thing that they would sticker that they would put on a light pole that said,
Yes.
"Get this traitor Hakeem
Yes.
Aslim." Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's terrible. Well, I mean that sums it up pretty well. Well, Kelly, we've got to go to our second sponsor. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. Our second sponsor is Fior Films.
Alrighty. Creating products that connect, inspire, and leave a lasting impression, Fior Films International specializes in capturing histories, from personal legacies to community legacies. Each story is produced and delivered in a compelling, dignified, private, beautiful way. Professionally filmed personal documentaries restore a human connection in a very real and palpable way, and are delivered in multiple mediums for maximized preservation. Not into being filmed? No problem. Fior Films International also provides exclusive access to the use of the revolutionary Tell Me technology. Tell Me technology is a powerful tool built specifically to privately capture and protect memories in all forms, anywhere. It can be done in the privacy of your own home, no audience allowed, or used by museums, assisted living facilities, expeditions, and more to collect, archive, and highlight memories in all forms through kiosks. The stories matter. Fior Films International has been proudly sponsoring the Hear Our Heroes initiative since its inception and believes fully in the preservation of unedited, unadulterated, and unaltered history, not history left to the interpretation of a textbook author. Fior Films International. Discover, connect, belong. Learn more at www.fiorfilms.com.
Yeah, that's fiorfilms.com, my favorite place for sure. Heck yeah. Hey, Hakeem, man, we wanted to talk a little bit now about your transition from Iraq to being a refugee.
Okay.
And your basically your fight to try to become a U.S. citizen, because a lot of people don't understand that the contract between the U.S. military and the locals was you assisted the U.S. military for 1 year, and then you were eligible for an SIV visa, a special immigrant visa, right?
Yeah.
And then you served the United States military for at least 5+ years, right? And your visa right now has been held up for the last 20 years or 15 years, and still haven't been able to bridge that gap with the bureaucracy. So tell us a little bit about your transition to Turkey, refugee status, and how that went for you.
Well, as I mentioned before, that we moved from being in Erbil to being refugees in Turkey. And at the beginning, we suffered a lot because it was a big transition. We didn't know the language. When we thought that I'm going to get the visa easily to the States, because I'm going to get the visa, more than me. I know I have worked in projects, did a lot for the U.S. Army, for the U.S. government, suffered a lot with them, get hit a lot. My name is everywhere. And even during the, ISIS time, they came to my, house. My father was only the only person over there because he was afraid they're going to steal our house. So he stayed over there and they were looking for me. They never, you never know when they're going to come and find me, you know what I mean? So we thought that they have, forgot about me. But that we're talking about 2014, 15, 16, you know what I mean? Still very recent. So I thought my visa is going to be the easiest one of all the guys who worked for the US. It turned to be most of the guys who like worked for a company working as a subcontractor for the US, got the visa, got the citizenship, and I'm still looking at them and calling them, every day and say, hey, why don't you come? And for me, I mean, I don't know, honestly, I don't know what to say, honestly, because they say, you still there? And I said, yes, I'm still there after all these years. I never know why. I don't know what's going on. And, people changes, like government changes, and I'm still here. Even regulation changes, and I'm still in the same position, never changed. I applied, my children was like, I think 6 years or 7 years old. Yeah. And now 20s.
Now they're 20s.
Yeah. In medical college in 20s. And I don't know what to say. I don't, honestly. Sometimes they say, and sometimes they tease me, say, we're going to go, and he's still over here. They say, wait for it. And some people tease me at the same time and say, well, you see, they worked for them and they left you. This is very, very big for me. And I mean, I was strange the other day when I saw, like, I don't say anything like that. Some of the Afghanis worked for the Americans, but they got in the airplane and they went straight directly to the States. And I'm trying to take the legal way, going through all the process that they are saying we have to come legally over here. I'm doing it legally, but I'm not. I have so many recommendations from General Petraeus, General Becker, General Hodges, you, Malti, for recommendations from you. So many overall. I mean, you are the only person who stuck with me, all these years. Like a brother. We're like brothers. So I have so many recommendations from all the officers. I have medal. I think I told you I have the medal from the Army. I have so many coins from the Army. I'm the only person who was allowed inside the base with a arm, pistol. I had, I think, pistol inside with me. So I was the only person. And you can allow, you trust me inside your bases, and you don't trust me to come inside the
with a pistol, and they won't trust you to come into the country.
Yeah. I've even went into like the operation rooms with them. These guys, honestly, with the 101st, I was everywhere. I was allowed to go anywhere inside over there, but that much trust I had. But
well, it's this isn't a Hakeem problem. This is a U.S. problem, and it was highlighted during Afghanistan withdrawal last year that the U.S. obviously didn't honor the services of. I think there's a number of about 2,000 Afghanis right now who served the U.S. military honorably while in Afghanistan, and now they're left stuck in Afghanistan, as you know, helping me trying to get these guys out of the country, and now they're in the same boat you are, where it's a U.S. problem that they don't honor and do the homework to honor those who have served the U.S. military. But we're going to remedy that. We're going to remedy that.
After, I applied, and I was like, 40, 42, something like that, 43 years old. And
look at you now. What are you, like 70 now?
So, I don't know. Some people told me, why don't you go to the border and just cross the, I said, what do you think? I'm going to go to Mexico and cross the, the border from there after all these years?
Yeah. You're not going to do that.
I want to come honestly. I want to be honestly. I want someone to appreciate what I've done, not to treat me like this. Especially the Army knows what I did. All the people who
100%
with me, I'm sorry, they know what I did. But the problem is the people who are making the decision about my visa. They don't know me. They just see paperwork. That's what it kills me, honestly. Sometimes I get very hard feelings about that.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because it's not hard for them to pick up a phone and call a person like me or Jennifer Petraeus or Chris Petty or any of the rest of them. They can call anybody and get what we feel about your bona fides, which is who you are and what you're all about. So it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry it's gone that way for you, Hakeem, but we're resolute in getting you here. Tell us a little bit about the last 5 or so years since you've been trying to get this done. What have you done and where have you gone, and why are you still wanting to do this?
I think my place is in the United States, not here. This is it. Short story.
That's it. Short story.
My place is not here. My place is in the United States. I mean, I have more friends everywhere. I mean, in the States, more than I said. I told my wife, if I will go to each state, and each state I will have a friend on it. In each state, I will have a friend of it. From all the years that I worked in the base, I have met so many soldiers, so many officers, through my years. And what I have, conveyed to you is like 10% of what I did over there. Honestly, it was like you don't feel the struggle that we, were over there. Every day struggle with the people, with the locals, with the problems, with the construction, everything we were doing over there was a struggle, but we managed it. We were trying to get that mission successful, and we did make it succeed. But the problem is people are left, unappreciated by some people, for unknowingly, or I don't know what's in there. They don't appreciate. This is what I felt sometimes from the units, because when you used to have units changing, from one unit to another, you have to establish a new, relation with these guys. So at the first, they think, who's this guy that he knows everything in the base, and like everybody likes him, everybody knows him, and things like that. They don't get it until they know you. Because I used to have like dinner parties. It's not parties, like barbecues. You remember that we used to have barbecues. Like we even had some kind of smoker club, full moon smoker club. Like we got every night we have some kind of fire pit. And we talk politics and everything with all. Sure. And every soldier who is passing by my building sit with us and talk about us. Some kind of, made the life inside the base, more easy for the soldiers as well. I was the only building have some kind of flowers, garden, fountains. I made that inside the base for the building, so that the people feel, they say, we have a garden over here, in the desert.
Right.
So
do you
I feel the pain on that.
Yeah. Do you think there's a lot of politics involved in this?
You tell me. This is the only question. I mean, this is the only thing that I can think about. I don't know what is it. It's either politics, or either someone is not appreciating what happened, or not understanding, It's like the people now, they don't understand what happened before, so that they don't care, honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just went to the war. They don't feel it. They don't feel what happened over there. So the person who is in charge of making the decision, yes, you come or not, don't know you, don't think you have done something. So I don't know. What
I'm hearing is, from what I know about you, Stephen, and from what I'm hearing from you, Hakeem, and having heard you share your story, loyalty is a sacred thing to both of you. That's part of the core of who you are. And so you not only loyal to your people, you're loyal to each other. You're wanting to bring that same loyalty to the U.S. And whether this is a political thing or not a political thing, whether, people, there's this discussion about illegal aliens, let them in, make people come in legally. At the end of the day, you are the kind of human being that as an American citizen, I want here in the United States. End of story.
Appreciate it. I mean, the loyalty played a big part on making each other safe in that environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we didn't trust each other, we couldn't have worked. He couldn't have taken me to all these places around with me having armed, and he's armed, and I was riding behind him. I could have done anything, but he trusted me. He trusted that person behind him, and he trusted him when he advised him not to do this or this. Him and all the all the officers, because I have worked with most of the base commanders over there. All the base commanders who came to QS, I worked with them, and all of them had the same interaction between me and them. I had loyalty, I had freedom of talk. We used to have lots of meetings. I was the only Iraqi who is allowed into the meetings of the mayor meetings. Only Americans who comes into it. I was the only Iraqi who was allowed into these meetings, And I say, I know how comes this kind of person is, don't imagine me, Hakeem, talking about himself. It's like a person coming into these meetings, coming into the base, living in the base, helping the Americans in every aspect of life from the morning until night, and guarding the towers of the base that you have American soldiers sleeping on so that they can go to their missions every day safely. That level of trust has to be appreciated.
100%. Yeah. Well said. So what I want to know a little bit, Hakeem, is tell me about your family right now.
Well, I had Joseph and Kamar in medical school. Kamar is in her fifth year. She's almost finished now, fifth year. So she's going to go be a doctor next year, like stage doctor or something like that. Something. She worked in the hospitals now. Yusuf is, following her, and the guy who you met. Who was born in New Year. Now he's going to be a doctor as well. And I have my little Lula, Lillian. She is 6 years old now.
Lillian,
yeah.
I remember when you wanted to call her Rose. You even texted me before she was born. I'm going to call her Rose. Oh, yeah, I love that name, man. And then he changed it on me.
Well, because we didn't get the Rose, but I told my wife's brother's son, daughter. I called her Rose, so she's Rose now. So I didn't leave that name. I gave it to someone.
That's awesome. And you're still in Turkey, right?
Yes.
So what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about what we're trying to achieve here with you. Is there's a new Welcome Corps program that just started this year that is designed to get people like you visa to the United States. It's requiring of me to become your sponsor, and I have to find 4 more sponsors, which I already have. Kelly is one of them. That is, I have to raise a certain amount of money in order for me to sponsor you and your family to get you a visa here in the United States. In order to get away from the SIV, which is the special immigrant visa, we're going to go after this new program and get you and your family here to the United States. So what I'm asking our audience to do is go to our GoFundMe page and help us get Hakeem here. We've raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000 or $9,000, and I need another $8,000 or $9,000 to get Hakeem here. And that's what I'm asking our audience to do, is go to our GoFundMe page, which is going to be at the bottom of your page, and donate to our cause to get Hakeem and his family here in the United States. We plan to bring him here to Nashville, and we'll get him integrated. And as you can see from who Hakeem is, there's no problem integrating him to be an American, because he is every bit as an American as you and I are. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart.
Always felt like that as well. Always.
I've felt like that since I met you, and the day I met you, Hakeem, and we're not going to quit until you get here.
Hopefully.
Inshallah.
Look, inshallah. Look, the main thing is, I hope that, the audience understand the struggle we have, the U.S. Army and all the soldiers and officers who, did in that war. And at the same time, the people who helped them in that, on land, who helped that mission to be successful. And don't forget that what you did is a great thing for your government, for your country. All the freedom that has taken by the Iraqis now is priceless.
Well, but yeah, like you said, you're the main part of that, of helping us achieve that mission. So we thank you, Hakeem, from the bottom of our heart for that. And you and I will always be brothers.
Always. I told my family if I'm going to die, I want to be buried in the United States if I get the visa.
Yeah, you're going to be buried here. That's going to happen, my friend.
Okay.
It's going to happen. Well, thank you for joining us. I've got to break to our third sponsor, if that's okay. Our third sponsor is Precision Air Power. Precision Air Power. We are a certified FAA Part 145 repair station. We offer a variety of aircraft engine overhauls, cylinder restoration, and numerous other general aviation services. Precision Air Power was established in 1978. We're going on 45 years. We've continued to deliver superior service with the highest quality and integrity. Our competition rates and prompt service will give you the best value for your time and money. We do complete engine overhauls. We do top-end overhauls. We do fuel injection. We do ignition systems, carburetor overhauls. We even do prop strike inspections. Visit precisionairpower.com today for your aviation needs. That's precisionairpower.com. All right, guys, that's it. All I need is Hakeem here, and I'm happy.
Appreciate it, man. I wish that as well. I've heard about Nashville, chicken. I would like to go with you. Some
Nashville hot chicken. You like hot, exactly. Right? Okay. Nashville hot chicken. You got it. Well,
Hakeem,
you'll
I
be
meant
here
what I
soon
said.
enough, my friend.
I meant what I said. You are the kind of human being that I want here. And to listen to you talk about freedom and what that means to you and your life before freedom, in your life after you got a taste of freedom, and being here, like, there's nothing I want more than to see you here, see you and your family here.
It's
been such an honor to talk with you and to hear you so eloquently and compelling share your story. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time and appreciate what you are doing for me. Thank you for your help and for all your assistance. Whether it happens or not, I appreciate all the, you're doing for me, all the things you are doing for me.
Gonna happen, okay?
It's gonna happen. Well, I was like, I'm still insisting in coming, so
I've promised you, remember?
Yes, I know that.
You got it. Well, thanks, Hakeem. You have a good night, and
you too.
Thanks for everybody for listening. WorldVoiceProject.org. Come visit us today.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys. You bet.
Eagle 6, Sabre 6, spot report.